There is something happening right now that you have probably never stopped to think about. Every single day, dozens of times, maybe hundreds of times, you lock eyes with another human being. Sometimes it lasts half a second. Sometimes it stretches into something that feels almost uncomfortable. And in that tiny window of time, that brief, almost invisible moment, your brain is doing something absolutely extraordinary. It is reading an entire emotional story. It is making decisions about trust, about safety, about attraction, about whether this person in front of you is someone you want to move toward or someone you need to pull away from. And the most fascinating part, you do none of this consciously. You do not sit there and think, okay, let me analyze the dilation of their pupils. Let me consider whether this gaze is holding for 3.2 seconds or 4.1 seconds. Let me calculate the emotional temperature of this interaction. No, you just feel it. You feel something shift in your chest. You feel warmth or discomfort or electricity or unease. You feel seen or you feel completely invisible. And all of that happens because two people's eyes happen to meet. So here is the question that should genuinely stop you in your tracks. Why? Why does something as simple as looking at another person carry so much emotional weight? Why does eye contact trigger feelings that words cannot even fully describe? Why can a stranger hold your gaze across a crowded room and make your heart do something that a full conversation with someone else never could? This is not magic. This is not mysticism. This is not poetry, even though poets have been trying to capture it for thousands of years. This is biology. This is neuroscience. This is evolutionary psychology working inside you right now, today, every single moment that you connect with another human being through the most powerful channel of communication that our species has ever developed. And by the end of this, you are going to understand exactly why eye contact hits differently than anything else in the human emotional experience. You are going to understand why it triggers attraction, why it creates connection, why it can shatter trust or build it in a matter of seconds. And you are going to understand yourself and the people around you in a way that you simply did not before you pressed play. Let us start at the very beginning, the biology of the gaze. Before we talk about attraction, before we talk about psychology, before we talk about the social dynamics and the emotional signals and all of that deeply human complexity, we need to go somewhere more fundamental. We need to go to the brain, because what makes eye contact so uniquely powerful is not just cultural. It is not just learned behavior. It is something that is hardwired into you at the most basic neurological level. Here is what happens inside your brain the moment you make eye contact with another person. The amygdala, which is the part of your brain responsible for processing emotional stimuli, for threat detection, for fear, for social bonding, activates immediately, before you have even had a chance to think about what is happening. Before you have formed a single conscious thought about the person you are looking at, your amygdala is already running calculations. Is this person safe? Is this person a threat? Is this person familiar? Is this person interested in me? And it is pulling from a database of information that you have been building your entire life. Every social interaction you have ever had, every emotional experience you have ever processed, every relationship you have ever formed, all of it is feeding into that split-second evaluation. And then there is the superior temporal sulcus. This is a region in your brain that is specifically dedicated, and this part is extraordinary, specifically dedicated to processing gaze direction. Your brain has a region whose job is literally to track where other people are looking. Think about what that tells you. It tells you that reading another person's gaze was so important to the survival and social functioning of our ancestors that evolution carved out a dedicated piece of neural real estate just to handle it. This was not accidental. This was the result of millions of years of social animals learning that knowing where someone else is looking could mean the difference between life and death. If every other member of your tribe suddenly looks to the left, you look to the left too. Not because you decided to, because your brain already processed that information and adjusted your attention before your conscious mind could even get involved. That is gaze direction processing, and it is ancient, it is deep, it is baked into what we are. But here is where it gets even more interesting. Humans are the only primates with a significant amount of white visible in their eyes. Think about that. Chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, their eyes are almost entirely dark. You cannot easily tell where they are looking without studying them carefully. Human eyes, by contrast, are built for communication. That white area, the sclera, acts like a spotlight. It makes the direction of your gaze immediately, unmistakably obvious to anyone who is watching you. Some researchers believe that this evolved specifically to facilitate social cooperation, to allow us to communicate silently, to signal attention and intention to the people around us without making a single sound. Our eyes were literally designed for connection. And when two people's eyes meet, when that gaze is mutual and shared, something happens that is unlike virtually any other sensory experience. The brain registers it as a social event of significance. Mutual eye contact activates neural pathways associated with social reward. It triggers oxytocin release, the same bonding hormone that is released during physical touch, during moments of deep intimacy, during the early stages of falling in love. Oxytocin is sometimes called the trust hormone or the love hormone because it is fundamentally involved in creating and deepening emotional bonds between people. And all it takes to start that process is looking at someone and having them look back. That is why eye contact feels like a signal, because neurologically, chemically, biologically, it is one. Why eye contact and attraction are inseparable. Now that you understand what is happening inside the brain, let us talk about what most people actually want to understand: attraction. Why does eye contact trigger attraction? Why can someone look at you from across a room and create a feeling in you that feels almost physical? Why do people in the early stages of romantic interest find themselves wanting to stare at each other and feeling almost unable to look away? The answer has several layers, and each layer is more interesting than the last. Layer 1, eye contact as selection signal. In the evolutionary history of human mating, the ability to identify who was interested in you, who was safe to approach, who was receptive to connection, was critically important. Approaching someone who was not interested could be embarrassing at best, dangerous at worst. And missing signals of interest from someone who was genuinely drawn to you meant missed opportunities for connection, partnership, reproduction. So the human brain became extraordinarily sensitive to gaze as an indicator of interest and intention. When someone holds your gaze, when their eyes linger on your face slightly longer than a casual glance, your brain picks that up and it registers as a potential signal of attraction. Not a guaranteed signal, not a definitive signal, but a potential one. And potential is enough to start the emotional cascade. Because here is the thing about attraction. It is not just about what you feel toward someone. It is also about what you believe they might feel toward you. Research consistently shows that perceived reciprocal interest dramatically increases attraction. Knowing or even just suspecting that someone finds you appealing makes you more likely to find them appealing in return. It is partly ego, yes, but it is also deeper than that. It is a social animal looking for signals of safety, of welcome, of belonging. Eye contact delivers that signal faster and more powerfully than almost anything else. Layer 2, the intimacy equilibrium. There is a concept in psychology called the intimacy equilibrium. This idea, developed by researchers studying nonverbal communication and interpersonal dynamics, essentially suggests that people regulate the level of intimacy in an interaction, and that different channels of communication are used to maintain a kind of emotional balance. Eye contact is one of the most powerful intimacy-increasing behaviors available to us. When you look directly into someone's eyes, when you hold that gaze and allow them to hold yours, you are increasing the intimacy level of the interaction significantly, and what happens next depends entirely on how the other person responds. If they match your gaze, if they hold it, if they lean in, if their body language opens up, the intimacy level rises further. You are mutually signaling something important. You are saying, without words, I am present. I see you. I am not afraid of this closeness. If they look away, if they deflect, if their body language closes down, the intimacy level drops back. And your brain notices that too. This is why mutual, sustained eye contact between two people who are attracted to each other feels so electric. You are not just looking at each other, you are calibrating, you are reading. You are having a non-verbal conversation about how much closeness you are both willing to allow. And when that calibration results in both people moving toward more rather than less intimacy, the feeling it creates is genuinely intoxicating. Layer 3. Pupil dilation and the subconscious read. Here is something that will genuinely change how you think about attraction. Your pupils dilate when you are looking at something that interests you, excites you, or attracts you. This is an involuntary physiological response. You cannot control it. You cannot fake it. Your pupils either dilate or they do not, and the stimulus, the thing that caused the dilation, is the truth. And here is the extraordinary part. Other people read your pupil dilation. Not consciously, not deliberately, but subconsciously, the human brain registers pupil size and makes emotional evaluations based on it. Studies have shown that people consistently rate photographs of faces with dilated pupils as more attractive, more approachable, and more appealing than the exact same faces with normal or constricted pupils, even when they cannot identify what the difference is, even when they are not aware that the pupils are different at all. So when you are attracted to someone and they are close enough that you can see their eyes clearly, their dilated pupils are sending you a subconscious signal, and your brain, operating entirely below the level of conscious awareness, is registering that signal and responding to it. This creates a feedback loop that can feel almost magical. You look at them, their pupils dilate because they find you attractive. Your subconscious reads the dilation and interprets it as attraction. You feel more drawn to them. Your pupils dilate. They subconsciously read your dilation. They feel more drawn to you. And neither of you fully understands why you suddenly cannot stop looking at each other. The emotional language of the eyes. Now let us go deeper into what eyes actually communicate, because this is where things get genuinely complex and fascinating. The face is the primary instrument of human emotional expression. We all know this, but within the face, the eyes carry a disproportionate share of the emotional information. Research in emotional reading and facial coding has consistently shown that people focus on the eyes more than any other feature when trying to understand how someone is feeling. There is a reason for this. The muscles around the eyes, the orbicularis oculi in particular, are among the most difficult to voluntarily control. They are closely tied to genuine emotional experience rather than performed emotion. This means that while someone can arrange their face into a convincing smile relatively easily, the eyes tend to tell the truth. You have probably experienced this yourself. You have seen a smile that did not reach someone's eyes. You have met someone who was telling you everything was fine while their eyes were communicating something entirely different. You have had the experience of looking at someone and knowing, just knowing, without being able to fully explain how, that they were not being honest with you. Your brain was reading their eyes, and in the context of attraction and emotional connection, this matters enormously. What eyes signal? A deep breakdown. Sustained mutual gaze signals interest and presence. When someone maintains eye contact with you, they are communicating that you have their full attention. In a world full of distractions, full of competing stimuli and fractured focus, being given someone's full attention is actually remarkable, and the eyes are what makes that attention visible. Softened, relaxed eye contact signals emotional openness. When someone's eyes are soft around the edges, when the muscles around them are relaxed rather than tense, it is a signal of vulnerability and openness. It says, "I am not guarded with you. I am allowing you in." Intense, searching eye contact signals deep engagement. When someone looks at you as though they are trying to understand something, when their gaze feels like it is reading beneath your surface, it can be both thrilling and slightly unsettling. It signals that they are not satisfied with a surface-level interaction. They want to know something real. Quick, repeated glances signal interest combined with anxiety. Think about the person across the room who keeps looking at you and then immediately looking away when you catch them. Your brain reads this accurately. It signals attraction accompanied by uncertainty or shyness. It is one of the most recognizable and endearing patterns in early romantic interest. The long, slow look signals deep attraction. When someone looks at you and allows the gaze to linger, to move slowly across your face, to feel almost like a touch, this is a level of visual attention that carries significant emotional weight. It requires a degree of confidence and openness to sustain, and receiving it feels genuinely different from ordinary eye contact. And then there are the eyes that refuse to meet yours. Consistent gaze avoidance can mean many things: discomfort, shame, deception, anxiety, dominance behavior, submission. The meaning depends entirely on context, but what it rarely means is that nothing is happening emotionally. Avoidance of eye contact is itself a powerful communicative act. It is saying something. You just have to read the surrounding context to understand what. The psychological depth of being seen. We need to talk about something that sits at the very heart of this entire topic, because all of the biology and the neuroscience and the attraction psychology is building towards something even more fundamental. Something that explains not just why eye contact triggers attraction, but why it carries such extraordinary emotional weight across every type of human relationship: romantic, platonic, familial, even momentary connections with complete strangers. Eye contact feels like a signal because it is the most direct form of being seen, and being seen is one of the deepest human needs that exists. Think about what it means to truly see another person, not to look at them, not to observe them, but to actually see them, to acknowledge their presence, their humanity, their inner world, to communicate through the most direct channel available, that you register them as a full, complex, emotionally alive person rather than just a body occupying space near you. This is what mutual eye contact does at its most profound. It says, without words, without explanation, without any of the awkward fumbling that human communication often involves, "I see you. I am here. You are not invisible to me." And the reason this hits so deep goes back to something fundamental about the human experience. We are social animals who are capable of extraordinary loneliness. We can be surrounded by hundreds of people and feel completely unseen. We can go through entire days, sometimes entire weeks, where we interact with dozens of people without a single moment of genuine mutual recognition, where every conversation is transactional, where every exchange is surface level, where every interaction is functional rather than human. And then someone looks at you, really looks at you, and something unlocks. There is a reason that being truly seen by another person is described across cultures, across centuries, across every tradition of human storytelling and philosophy and poetry, as one of the most profound experiences available to us. There is a reason that people remember moments of genuine eye contact, with strangers on trains, with lovers at the beginning of things, with friends in moments of crisis, with elderly relatives in their final days, long after other details of those interactions have faded entirely. Being seen changes something. It reduces isolation. It activates the parts of the brain and the body that are associated with belonging and safety and connection. It reminds us in a way that no amount of intellectual reasoning can fully replicate that we are not alone. And eye contact is the most immediate, most direct, most efficient delivery mechanism for that experience that human beings have ever developed. The paradox of vulnerability. Here is something that is worth sitting with. Genuine eye contact requires vulnerability. To look directly into another person's eyes, to hold that gaze, to not look away, to allow yourself to be seen while you see them, is actually an act of exposure. Because the eyes communicate more than we choose to reveal. They show emotion that we might prefer to conceal. They register feeling before we have had a chance to process or filter or manage it. And so sustained eye contact is, at its core, a choice to be somewhat transparent, to lower a layer of protection, to say, at least in this moment, I'm not hiding. This is why it can feel vulnerable. This is why it can feel uncomfortable. This is why many people instinctively look away before genuine eye contact has a chance to develop into something real. But it is also precisely why, when two people do allow it, when they both hold the gaze, when they both accept the vulnerability of being seen, what develops between them can feel so profound. You are not just sharing information, you are sharing access. And that is rare, and that is meaningful. And the emotional response it triggers is proportional to its rarity. Eye contact in romantic attraction. The specific mechanics. Let us bring this back into the specific territory of romantic attraction, because there are particular dynamics at work here that deserve their own examination. The 3-second rule and what it actually means. You may have heard the idea that sustained eye contact of around 3 seconds is particularly powerful in romantic contexts. And the science behind this is interesting. Ordinary social eye contact, the kind you exchange with a cashier, a colleague, a neighbor passing in the hallway, typically lasts around 1 second or less. It is enough to acknowledge and register, but not enough to signal anything particular. At around 3 seconds of sustained mutual eye contact, something shifts. The brain moves out of the territory of casual social acknowledgement and into the territory of meaningful engagement. 3 seconds is long enough to be unmistakable, long enough that neither person can easily chalk it up to coincidence or routine courtesy, long enough that a message has clearly been sent. The message is simple: I chose to look at you. And in romantic attraction, the awareness that someone has deliberately chosen to focus their attention on you, chosen you, even briefly, is enormously powerful, because choice implies preference, and preference is the beginning of attraction's social dimension. The role of eye contact in creating artificial intimacy. There is a famous study by psychologist Arthur Aaron that involves pairs of strangers going through a series of increasingly personal questions together, followed by 4 minutes of sustained mutual eye contact. The results were remarkable. Participants consistently reported feeling deeply connected to their partner after the exercise, even though they had been complete strangers before it began. Some experienced feelings that resembled early romantic attachment. Some remained friends long after the study. A few ended up in romantic relationships. What this tells us is that eye contact does not just reflect existing emotional connection, it can actively create it. The experience of being held in someone's gaze for an extended period, of looking back into their eyes without the deflection and distraction of ordinary social interaction, creates genuine feelings of closeness and intimacy, even in the absence of any prior relationship. This has enormous implications for how we think about romantic attraction. It suggests that the electric feeling of locking eyes with a stranger across a room is not just the recognition of a connection that was already there, waiting to be discovered. It is partly the beginning of a connection being actively created in that moment. The eye contact itself is doing work. It is building something. And this is why the eyes feel like such a powerful signal in attraction. Because they are not just indicators, they are instruments. Why we fall in love with people's eyes. Ask someone what they love most about a person they are deeply attracted to, and eyes come up constantly, not just as a physical feature, but as something more. Their eyes tell me everything. I could look into their eyes for hours. When they look at me, I feel like the only person in the room. This language is not accidental. It is describing something neurologically and psychologically real. When you are deeply attracted to someone, when you are falling for them, the experience of looking into their eyes carries a kind of concentrated intensity that other channels of interaction simply cannot match. This is because at that stage of attachment, the eyes are not just delivering information. They are delivering evidence of something that the emotions desperately want confirmed. Do you feel this too? And eyes, more than anything else, answer that question. Because they cannot fully lie. Because the pupil dilation is real, and the softness is real, and the way attention is held is real, and all of it is communicating something that is too important to be left to the imprecision of words. When eye contact is complicated, we have to be honest about the full picture here, because eye contact is not uniformly experienced as warm and connecting. For many people, eye contact is genuinely difficult. It can feel threatening, exposing, anxiety-inducing, or simply overwhelming. And understanding why this is the case adds another layer to our understanding of what eye contact actually does in the human emotional system. For individuals with social anxiety, direct eye contact can trigger the fight or flight response, the intensity of being looked at, the sense of exposure. The awareness of being evaluated activates threat detection systems that make sustained mutual gaze feel dangerous rather than connecting. The very thing that creates intimacy for others creates acute discomfort for them. For many autistic individuals, eye contact can be genuinely sensory in nature, overstimulating in a way that is difficult to describe to people who do not experience it. This does not indicate a lack of interest in connection, or a lack of emotional depth, or any of the other misinterpretations that are frequently applied. It indicates a different relationship to a specific form of sensory input. And in the context of power and dominance, prolonged eye contact can function as a threat display rather than a bonding signal. In situations where someone's gaze feels invasive or predatory rather than warm and mutual, the emotional response it triggers is not attraction or connection, it is alarm. This matters because it reminds us that context, consent, and mutuality are everything when it comes to eye contact as an emotional signal. The same behavior, sustained direct gaze, can be experienced as deeply connecting or deeply threatening, depending on the relationship, the power dynamic, the setting, and the individual sensory profiles of the people involved. Eye contact is powerful not just because of what it communicates, but because of how directly it bypasses the usual social filters and protective layers that people carry in everyday interaction. That bypass can be beautiful, and it requires respect. How understanding this changes you. By now, you have been given a map of something that most people experience their entire lives without ever stopping to understand. You know why eye contact activates the amygdala. You know about oxytocin and the bonding response. You understand pupil dilation and the subconscious reads that people perform on each other's faces. You understand the intimacy equilibrium and how gaze regulates emotional closeness. You understand the evolutionary roots of the gaze-reading brain. And you understand that at the deepest level, eye contact carries such weight because it is the primary delivery mechanism for the experience of being truly seen. So what do you do with this? Here is the most important thing. Understanding that eye contact is a biological, neurological, evolutionary signal does not diminish its power. If anything, it deepens it. Because now, when someone holds your gaze, you understand that something real is happening. not just in the romantic sense, but in the most fundamental human sense. You are participating in a system of communication that is older than language. You are using a channel that your body built specifically for connection. And knowing that gives you a different relationship to those moments. When you are tempted to look away, you can make a conscious choice. When you are in a conversation with someone and you notice that you have been deflecting eye contact, you can decide deliberately to offer someone the experience of being seen. When you are sitting across from someone you care about and the moment feels like it wants to deepen, you know now what holding the gaze a little longer actually does to the chemistry between two people. You have agency. You have understanding. And understanding always creates more choices. There is also something worth sitting with from the flip side of this. The people in your life who struggle with eye contact, who look away, who deflect, who seem unable to sustain that mutual gaze, they are not necessarily disinterested or cold or closed off. They may be anxious. They may be overwhelmed. They may be carrying a history that makes exposure feel dangerous. Understanding eye contact means understanding that its absence is also a signal, and that reading that signal with compassion rather than judgment opens a door that judgment always keeps closed. The eyes across time. Let us close with something that puts all of this in perspective. Human beings have been looking into each other's eyes for as long as we have existed. Every love story that has ever unfolded in the entire history of our species began with two people whose eyes met and held. Every deep friendship that has ever developed included moments of genuine mutual gaze where something unspoken was communicated perfectly. Every comfort that has ever been offered in a moment of crisis, every shared laugh across a crowded room, every moment of recognition between two strangers who somehow felt like familiar souls, all of it passed through the channel of the eyes. Long before we had language complex enough to say what we meant, long before we had art or writing or music or any of the other extraordinary tools that humans have developed to bridge the gap between one interior world and another. Long before any of that, we had eyes that were designed, specifically, deliberately, evolutionarily, to communicate. And that means that the feeling you get when someone truly looks at you, when you hold each other's gaze and something shifts in the air between you, is not just personal. It is ancient. It is shared. It is part of what it means to be the particular kind of animal that you are. You are an animal that evolved to look at your own kind, and in looking, to be transformed. And the next time it happens to you, the next time someone's eyes hold yours a beat longer than ordinary, the next time you find yourself looking at someone and feeling something shift in your chest, the next time two people's gazes meet and the world somehow feels smaller and warmer and more real, you will understand what is happening, not just emotionally, but truly, and that understanding will not make the feeling smaller. It will make it more extraordinary than it has ever been before. Eye contact is the oldest form of human communication. It predates language. It bypasses intellect. It speaks directly to the parts of us that are most fundamentally alive. It signals attraction because it was built to. It creates connection because that is its function. It feels like something deep because it is something deep. Something rooted in millions of years of social animals learning that the eyes of another can be the safest, most honest, most direct pathway to another human soul. The next time you look into someone's eyes and feel something you cannot quite name, now you know. You are not imagining it. You are just finally paying attention to something that has always been there.